Speaking about Jim Barnett, what are your thoughts on Jim Barnett? A lot of people tell us different stories about Jim.
Well, you know, he was gay.
Right.
Which has nothing to do with anything. Jim Barnett was a guy that ran up in Indiana, Illinois, Chicago. And the guy that ran him out was who? You don't know. Bruiser. Dick the Bruiser.
Right.
And he then went from the States to Australia. Ran Australia. He met me and Gene in Hawaii in 1970 on our way to Japan because we were going to come to Australia. And I told him I wanted $1,200. He said, "Oh, that's a lot of money."
Huh.
I said, "Well," he said, "well, maybe some other time."
Everybody does that impression. Everybody. God.
Well, anyway, so we went to Japan, never went to Australia. And then in 1974, like I told you, they sent us down to Georgia. And that's where Barnett was. And Barnett used to hang around. All the guys wanted to talk to him because he's the head boss. I never talked to him. I couldn't give a shit about anything. I was there to make money. And in the fall of that year, we came down there and when the hell was it? April, I think it was, of 1974. Louis Tillett was the booker. They got rid of Louis Tillett. I have no idea yet why they got rid of him, and they hired Harley Race. Harley Race, I liked Harley Race, but he couldn't book his way out of anything. He was the shits. In my opinion, he was the shits. And so the money went down, 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 down. And what we had been making when Louis Tillett was there, we averaged $1,500 a week apiece. So when Harley came in, he was only there for a week or 2 weeks, and I went to Barnett and I said, "Jim, Harley don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. Gene and I want to go." He said, "Well, you can't go, my guy." He said, "You know, we got you booked." I said, "Well, okay, we'll stay, but there's only one we're going to stay." He said, "Well, what's that?" He said, "You pay us $1,500, what we've been averaging, and I'll stay." Oh my God, that's all you think about is money. Well, all right. He paid us $1,500 a week every damn week, but the real pay should have gone down to around $500 or $600. And finally, when it got to be the end of October, I think it was, he said, "Boys, I can't afford that anymore."
Huh.
I said, "No problem, Jim. We'll just go whenever you want us to go." So we left, and he fired Harley the next week, I think it was.
Right.
And he hired Tom Ernesto. And we were going to go, once again, who knows where. And George Scott got a hold of Gene. We're talking about Barnett, aren't we?
Yes.
I know, I forget. But anyway, Barnett was a guy that knew I loved money. And I think he was a guy that realized that I knew a lot of shit about wrestling because I quit him in 1979. I says, "I'm out of here." I was so goddamn tired of Barnett driving me nuts.
Huh.
I would never come to the office. And I never gave him my phone number. You know Ronnie West?
Yes.
Ronnie West called me one time from the office. He went to the office all the time. And Barnett walked by and he said to himself, "You're talking to Ole." Oh. So Ronnie got off the phone and he came back to, this is Ronnie telling me, he says, came back, he says, "Ronnie, you were just talking to Ole Anderson, weren't you?" And Ronnie said, "Yeah." He said, "And you called him, did you?" He said, "Yeah." So you've got his phone number, right? He said, "Yeah." He said, "What's his phone number?" He won't give me his phone number.
Huh.
And Ronnie says, "I can't give you his phone number, Jim." And Barnett said, "You'd think you'd give me his phone number. You work for me. Why wouldn't you give me his phone number?" He said, "Well, you just told me not to give a phone number to anybody." And he said, "Not to you." So Barnett never got my phone number. So Barnett could never call me at home. And that's where I stayed. I stayed at home. When I got the bookings done, I went down there on a Friday or whatever day it was, Thursday, and I go, "Here's the bookings.
Right.
Go ahead and print this out," and that's it. And Barnett used to go crazy. He said, "You'd think you'd come down here once in a while. You'd think you'd give me your phone number." I said, "Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you?" And I just walk away. But Barnett knew that I was, but here's the thing. When I booked for Barnett he told me when I first started booking for him, if it doesn't sell out on, well, the Thanksgiving was a shot he was looking for. We started in October. If it doesn't sell out in Thanksgiving, he said, you're going to have to find another job.
Well, how did you make the transition from being, a worker in the ring to behind the scenes? How'd you make?
I'd always been doing that.
Right. Okay.
I'd always been thinking about finishes. I'd always been thinking about how to run things because I saw matches like everybody else saw matches. But to me, it meant something. And to other people, they just looked at them and said, "Well, what the hell is that?" Right. Good, bad, or they weren't critical. They didn't think about anything. But I did. And for me,
as far as psychology goes and all that,
yeah, it was so easy for me just to go. Like I'd only been in business for a few years. Hell, I was already. For Crockett, I did the booking down here, and that's later on. I did the booking officially.
Didn't you simultaneously book Georgia and Crockett at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Find out anybody else can do that?
I was going to ask you, how difficult was that?
Real difficult. It was over 100 guys.
Right.
That was a pain in the ass. But see, I was just going to tell you, when I came down, when I'm here in Carolinas, David Crockett, I was pissed about everything that was going on. And I said, let me just take Greenville and see what I can do with it, okay? Let me run the damn thing. And I think we took Nelson Royal and the guy that got killed up in Canada.
Dino Bravo?
Dino Bravo. Thank you. And those were the two guys I had to work with. And I said, just let me handle it. Let me just do whatever I want to do. And they said, okay. Jim Crockett was, okay. Now, George... No, I don't think George Scott was a booker. I think it was Johnny Weaver and Rip Hawk, maybe.
Right. Did the Briscoes get involved too behind the scenes at one point?
No.
Okay.
Booking?
Yeah. Well, I know they owned a piece of the territory at one point, right?
Oh, they owned a piece of Georgia.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that had nothing to do with booking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just don't. So did Bill Watts.
Right.
And so did, oh, gosh. Another guy had 2.5%. But anyway, and like I say, Bill Watts had 10%. I bought his 10%. Yeah, but that's all they just had a piece of the damn territory, but they didn't do any of the booking.
Oh, yeah, okay. Grade yourself as a booker in Georgia. How would you rate yourself?
How about the whole world?
I was going to ask you, does it surprise or bother you that when other guys from today trash you today as a booker?
Who?
Tito Santana, he recently wrote a book, and he said more or less, he called you like a racist in his book.
Why do you think he did that?
Probably didn't push him. I don't know.
Well, that's it.
Probably why.
He didn't make a dime with me. Now, tell me where he made money.
Probably just for Vince, when he was, up there for a little bit.
I don't know. Did he make money up there?
Sure. I mean, they put straps on him, stuff like that, and they give him a big push, so, I mean... And probably for
Well, do you like what Vince is doing?
Do I like today?
Yeah.
Not at all.
Well, good.
I think the whole business is...
Now, you see, if you say that he pushed Tito Santana and made him a few bucks, but you don't like what Vince is doing now, what made you think he was doing something better back then?
I think wrestling back then was a whole different animal, obviously.
Well, yeah, but you still had to... Let me ask you this question. Would you pay a lot of money to watch Tito Santana?
Maybe if I was a fan of the 80s and I grew up watching and the business was the way it was back then, I didn't know any better, but in today's wrestling world, no. But, I mean, he had a place back then.
I don't have anything against Tito Santana. Nothing against him. But there was nothing, to me, I looked at a guy and I made up my mind what I wanted to do with the guy, and Tito obviously wasn't somebody that I was going to be excited about.
Right.
You're going to have you got a whole lot of guys that worked in the first matches or second matches, or worked in the main events. Who cares where they worked? Were they the guys that could draw money? What else do you go by? I like you. You're a hell of a guy. I like to come over to your house every day to eat dinner. Boy, you're just wonderful. I love your wife, and I like your car. I love your house. But when I put you at the doggone building the other day, nobody came to see you. So why the hell would I do anything with your ass?
Right.
And with Tito Santana, there was nothing... I don't even I remember him, but I don't remember much about him. What was there in Tito Santana that would make you say, that's a hell of a guy. I think I could make a lot of money with him.
Right. I understand.
And I took a guy that was just an old fart and made all kinds of money with him called Johnny Walker, wrestling number 2.
Right.
I had a guy who was a hell of a wrestler that couldn't goddamn think past his nose. That was Tim Woods, and made a lot of money with him. But you know, so Tito, I don't know anything about Tito, but if he didn't like me, he didn't like me. What the hell? But I never used him anyway, so what I didn't give a shit. But you couldn't make everybody. How are you going to have people working for you? Do you think the guy at IBM that runs the whole damn place is loved by all of his, unless he just gives them money?
Right.
So I wasn't in the habit of giving anybody money. You earn the money, you get the money. Otherwise, the hell with it.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.